Hey man, say man, it's the one and only Jamaican man back here with a week 5 quick break showing you two games this week, the New York Knicks versus the Orlando Magic. And after this, we have Portland versus Chicago in Chicago. What I want to point out through everything we have spoken about thus far and the simple things that you need to watch for, that the league is talented, one, two, it makes the parity better. You have a lot of players playing very well, and these four teams are in that list. But there are some differences that make the outcomes of these games very apparent. And what I want you to notice about this first East Coast matchup is that Orlando is not only competing, they're playing as if they deserve to have the Knicks as an opponent. And what stands out about that is that the average age, for the most part, besides Terrence Ross, is that most of these players are 4 years at most. And typically that leaves a learning curve where, yes, they'll play aggressive, but they don't know all of the ways of taking advantage of the court like veterans would in the NBA. But what you see here, contrary to that understanding in basketball, where you'll give young players leniency for not playing to win. They play well to make their money, as I said previously, but they may not know how to play as a team. But that guy right there, Jamal Mosley, is making sure that they're on one accord. And as you can see, it's a competitive game. But what I want you to see first and foremost is how Blue or Orlando gets their buckets and where New York gets their buckets. And you'll notice throughout the game, that's pretty consistent between a team that can play. They'll do what they do, right? And you have a team that executes. They run their offense and get to the shots that they want. And typically in basketball, it's best to not only have players that can do the things you need to do at all three levels. You need a team to be that united fist, as I said last week, to be able to move in one accord to create open shots, as you see that Cole Anthony to Franz Wagner. And Wagner is definitely playing very well this year. Jalen Suggs is as well, but he is accepting his role off the bench, and he's excelling because he gets those starter minutes as well. And as you can see, that's another basket for New York at the glass. New York is defensive first, like their culture has been for years. Great shot. But they have the ability to score. But there are two places. If you notice them, comment it below. Let me know, but I'll give the answer away in just a second. The three-point shot and the layup, or the close shot, if you will, is what New York wants to get out of all of their possessions. Now, they have some action, meaning that they do one thing or another in their offense to start creating the possession. Okay, and as you can see there with Orlando, they created a possession, but that's a rhythm basket for Terrence Ross. Rhythm shot for Julius Randle, but he was already ready to create that. There was not much movement to create that shot. That's Terrence Ross' second shot. Again, the rhythm that I'm speaking about and the continuity that I'm speaking about with Orlando. As I was saying, as you can see, Julius Randle make another three-point, stationary three-point. Just keep the difference in how they create their shot. Ball movement, dribble, kick is what we call it in basketball. This is the secondary break, and a lot of winning teams in the NBA that execute understand the importance of scoring in the secondary break. Most teams right now still aren't effective at that. Another stationary three by Julius Randle, but Orlando does a great job in this video hosted by House of Highlights. Thanks to the NBA for allowing us to even have this content in the first place. Please like, comment, and subscribe to ISM Network. This is the basketball portion, but we also have Eat, Sleep, Blitz on Spotify as well as Anchor. Check out the football. We're in week 9 and 10, and it's been pretty entertaining for Thoughts by Ty. He also has a Think Piece podcast, Thoughts by Ty, as it is named. He's just dropped his latest episode last Thursday, so go check that out. But as you can see, it was a pass, screen. That's an and one. Orlando, they are creating their open shots. They are going to the glass. They are getting jump shots at all points of the floor, which New York really didn't do as much. Quigley has gone away from that for some reason this year, as you see Quigley take a three-point shot. I think him focusing on making that jump shot has put him in a deficit at this time to not play his natural game to create that shot again. The resounding difference between the team that plays, I'm going to do what I do, do what makes me money, do what makes it work. But you rarely see that much ball movement. Even though it was ball movement to the corner, Orlando wanted that to happen. But yes, that's the difference. Great block by Fonil. D Rose. Great action to create the open shot. And that will be a reoccurring theme throughout this. So you see one action, and Orlando has been defending that all night, that they know how to anticipate it because they know it's nothing after that screen and roll. Secondary break, transition bucket. You almost set, but you're not quite there yet, and you attack the hole in that defense. Again, New York at the glass. Please like, comment, and subscribe, if you will, to ISM Network. I am Jamaica Man on behalf of basketball here at ISM Sports. Great basket by Franz Wagner. He's not getting enough commentary about the Rookie of the Year conversation, but he should be in it. But shout out to Evan Mobley being top dog at this time, because he definitely is a twin tower down there in Cleveland. That was a great action, driving kick that made him stand up. So they were getting more ball movement in the second half of the game, latter towards the end of the third, beginning of the fourth. Great shot. You could technically call that a secondary break, but it was a great shot, added to the star value of the game, if you will, and it being entertaining. Mind you, this is Orlando. Orlando typically doesn't have that sachet to be able to compete with most teams, but this team is different. They all bought in. And you tell me if you've seen New York take a mid-range jump shot throughout this entire game. Great defense. They did turn all over the ball towards the end of the game as well, and Orlando capitalized, which they should. They're playing like a veteran team. It's still close, mind you. The competitive nature. That's Franz Wagner and one at the rim off a secondary break screen, not a stationary, I'm a drive and dunk. There was movement to allow that to happen. You see how many floaters Orlando's taking? That's 3 turnovers in the last 3 frames, and they capitalized. And I think that's what created the 4-possession difference, is that in the creation of shots for Orlando, they made way more sense than New York. Now we move on to the second game, my favorite team, Portland versus Chicago. It's the reason why I played it. It's the same theme, whereas Chicago at this time, they are a great jump shooting team collectively. And if you cannot get their shots contested or get them out of rhythm, they're going to take those shots. But every night, you can't guarantee to win a game off a jump shot. But they start early with these great looks. They have great action. They have brought in the Billy Donovan as well. Go Gators. And you have the variety and dynamic ability of DeMar DeRozan in the paint, where he has CJ there, and I want to speak on that in a second. That's important. But I just want to break down the team's differences, if you will, which makes them great. Zach LaVine, all-around scorer. You have DeMar DeRozan, that's your mid-range specialist. Tonight they didn't have Vucevic, so Nurkic was able to focus more on what we needed him to do. That's not his fault right there, if you will, to my theme that I'm going to speak to in a second. But as usual, we play offense very well. We move the ball very well, and I'm very thankful that Chauncey Billups has kept that wrinkle in our offense. It gives us the ability to be dynamic, and Damian Lillard stepping up for the team. And contrary to belief, this man has become a championship player, if you will, doing everything we need for him to do for us to win as a leader. He weak side blocked that shot. What you see here is the rotation changing, as I said last week. They have played and emphasized our forwards, Nasir Little and Larry Nance, there. And Larry's played the 5, he's played the 4, Nasir's played the 4, and they've created separation with their jump shots, but they also are very active with Nurkic off the weak side, which we need, and less of CJ. My point previously to him being on the block and getting scored on. We don't need CJ down there with forwards. We don't need Dame down there with forwards. And they tried their best to not do that. You see many possessions that we did not have that. So we have a jump shooting team, dynamic spots in Chicago, and you have a very dynamic offense with scoring guards, Anthony, CJ, Dame, and Nurk in the paint. Great contest by Nurk. Great finish by Lonzo. And it's really about executing. Both teams are executing, if you will. They're getting the shots they want. They're doing it off the actions they receive, and they're using all of the wrinkles in the sets to be able to create these open looks, which makes an entertaining game in this West Coast version of what we just seen on the East Coast. And that's the difference between East Coast basketball and the NBA and West Coast basketball for the most part. But this East Coast team is the best, or arguably one of the best teams in the East. So they add value to what Portland has to do just to compete in the West, to my point. Dame Dollar getting it beat by Alonzo. Great defense, if you will. He stood at it. CJ got completely lost. Dynamic set by Chicago. Go Gators. He doing what he does. Billy Donovan drawing it up for the guards. But we still have buckets. So we are in the mid-range. We are in the 3. We're at the glass like Orlando was previously. Terrence Ross operating those shots. Last game, CJ is our designated mid-range guy. So, Chicago is built in that variety. Portland is built in that variety where you have to have dynamic players at all 3 levels of the floor. And this is what Norman does for us. He's our driver. But, the Bulls have been playing dynamic defense all year. They had a block party before with Ayo Dosunmu, and this block party was just sponsored by Portland, but we got a great 3-point shot out of it. Great finish by Norman Powell, to my last point, that he's our designated driver and jump shooter. Also, with New York is a 3-and-D team. That is their identity. They're going to guard well, they're going to get to the rim, and they're going to get 3-point shots. But they have to create more movement, and that's what limits them later on in the season. But you got challenged by a very dynamic offense in Orlando and a team that bought in, and they have dynamic players all over the floor. Now, this game is more difficult, like I said, not only because of the West Coast variety to it, but both teams are built to score at all 3 levels. They are also bought in. Contrary to belief, we are bought in Portland, and that is a great shot. No call by on Lillard. But you see that great pass? That's what he's improved on. The defensive block that you seen early on and that 3-point shot that you just seen him give up to would have been a jump shot last year. Anthony Simons has emerged. He should be in the MIP conversation. Conversation. Great help. Weak side. Hello. Weak side. I said that. Larry Nance brought that tonight. And Vucevic not being there was one. They team rebound very well, but that's what makes us feel like we can't replace Nurkic. So, chill with the blow the team up right now. That's not happening. Not right now. That's how committee. Bucky by CJ. And we in the crunchy, which is crunch time. So let's see what they got. They dynamic. I will say that. They fluidly get all of their baskets. That's a great make by Dame. And that's a guy that's been playing hard all game that knows that he's going to get his shots whenever he wants. Great bucket. You know how confident you got to be to shoot that shot like that? Zach LaVine. I don't even know if he get an MIP consideration, but he might be an all-star for real. Chicago might have 2. Good bucket. Thank you all for tuning into my reaction. Dame Dollar 3. Like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Jamaica Man, Twitter Jamaica Man. Thoughts by Ty, the football conglomerate. Great basket because of the ball movement all night. My first point about Orlando and Portland. What would make them more likely to win a game if you were just watching like, oh, they moving the ball better. Oh, they can make shots, but they're moving the ball better is how you would phrase that. Follow Thoughts by Ty, Eat, Sleep, Blitz, Thoughts by Ty podcast, and my colleague here on the ISM Network as well. Appreciate all of your love and support. Great bucket by Dame. He seems way more comfortable. Y'all better chill on him. He said what he said. But Zach, he said it too. That's a bucket. We should have grabbed that rebound late. We can get better, but that's a deficiency of playing a lot of guards late. But this is a deficiency as well. When you don't move the basketball, you're forced into an isolation situation that you assume that the defender can't guard. But that one time, because DeMar's a great player, Nasir Little was able to stop him from getting into his rhythm, shoulder, mid-range drop step shot. No movement allowed for him not to get to that shot better, optimally. And we just end up playing good defense, beating a great team, and finishing it up. Thank you guys. You all be well. And thank you for your time. And remember, it's in you, not on you. Ism.